The rogue trader ship took its place in the center of the attack formation. The right flank was guarded by the sacred combat vessels of the Adeptus Mechanicus, and the left consisted of the combined forces gathered by the Lord Inquisitor. Headed by a frigate of the indomitable Space Wolves, the enemy deployed their ships in a wide arc in an attempt to surround the squadron, but the heretics' plan was not meant to be. Thorvald and Opticon 22 sent their detachments forward, trying up the enemy in combat and presenting the Lord Captain with the chance to deliver a blow to the very heart of the enemy position, where the flagships of these traders of humanity awaited their final hour. Can't be just one ship, right? That would be too easy. No angle is good enough for me. Unless it's bugged and I don't know. Okay, we'll try this.
Bring doom to our enemies.
What do you mean? It's right there.
Unleash the power of our lance batteries.
We hit the other shield. Okay. It's barely losing health.
I want to hear the macro cannons roar.
Let's just go with everything. Invalid. Okay, we might take heavy hits. So I'm gonna strafe away. Put one of those.
Destruction upon our enemies.
Jesus. I mean, considering all of these attacks, we defended pretty well. What is that? Oh, if we fly into this, we take damage. I don't know what that is though. Torpedo can take this one out. If we control these little guys, we'll be fine. Are we sure we can't do anything? Okay.
Bring doom to our enemies. Deliver their demands.
Okay, we'll do this. Switch the shields to the
We
left.
have a destination to reach.
Somehow we can teleport away from that, but let me continue bombarding it.
I want to hear the macro cannons roar.
Good. Okay. What else can we do? Completely destroy the shields. And with that, we can end our turn. It's a beefy ship. The Navy are acting as a distraction. That is good.
The impure tremble.
Okay, they're they're dead.
Show them the fury of our macro cannon.
And we're done. Oh shit.
I've seen many a glorious victory like this one, and I'll see many more.
It's alright. We'll just repair. Alright. Now we can launch the planetary assault. In case there's another ship combat sequence, just repair. And let me quick save. Don't close your ears to my words, Ayat Fatir, or we may quarrel. Before we go to the bloodiest of battles, allow me to summon that impudent boaster Thorvald Ironheart to your ship. The world of the Iron Priests can wait until the two wolves have spoken their words. Understand, Ayat Fatir, how important this conversation is. It is my hunting path, and we can either prowl together or I shall walk it alone. I hope you heed my words, for I do not wish to abandon your war band before my debt for being freed from the Xenos thraldom is repaid. You will have your meeting with Thorvald. Come to the bridge. That's better, Ayat Fatir. We'll talk to that brazen blowhard first and crush the heretics later. This will initiate his side quest that occurs on this planet. And I plan to bring him with me anyway, so I might as well do it. That should give us his iconic weapon also, which I'm looking forward to get. Thorvald has not come alone, but with a young brother in arms. With a mocking glance at Ulfar, he bellows, "Thorvald Ironhide is here. Why have you summoned me, rogue traitor?" "Speak to me." Ulfar's usual brash joviality has evaporated from his voice. "Know you, Thorvald, whether the path of battle has led my pack the baleful howl?" "You haven't lost your pack, have you ever lost?" The young wolf's voice is strong and insolent, and richly melodic. He tilts his head in a mocking concern, watching Ulfar's complexion change to match the violent shade of his hair. "We did not have a chance to talk properly at the council. I wanted to meet you." "Ha! Of course you do. Who would miss the chance to strike up a friendship with the illustrious leader of the equally illustrious Stormbiters? Go on. Halbrand, recite the saga of my exploits and make sure to include the landing in the Void Kraken's mouth. This is Halbrand the Brave, the most sonorous voice in my pack. Thorvald nods at the tall wolf, who seems to radiate the proud vigor of a warrior. I think you meant to say Halbrand the Braggart, no? For his verses often weave together the truth with his own flights of fantasy. Ulfar smiles vindictively, with a viciousness utterly unbecoming of an angel of the Emperor. Now it is Halbrand's turn to blush. Thorvald chuckles. "Thank you for the correction, Everlost. I reckon we can do without the saga." There's like an embarrassing detail or two, probably. Why do you call Ulfar Everlost? You don't know? I'm not surprised. Brother Ulfar does not care for the moniker. He has had it since his early years in the chapter. When Ulfar underwent his trial of the Cup of Wulfen, he took so much longer than the others that the Rune Priest gave him up for lost. Later he received grievous wounds in the raids that sent him into status sleep for a long time. Anytime we would pay a visit to the baleful howl, we would ask, "Where is Brother Ulfar?" And he was always resting, and recently he went missing altogether. Lost after an attack on Xenos. Thorvald grins mockingly, his long fangs glinting. "And forget not to tell of the dire curse that of yore was laid. Upon the mighty Ulfar no good death for him is fated. Only the one day he be lost, bereft of glory and honor." Halbrand declaims the line so sonorously and powerfully that the bulkheads begin to vibrate. Any who cares to cross his path, let him regale and gladly that proud warrior, Halbrand Blatherskite, singer of rumors, and fine tattler of tall tales. For he has glimpsed no worthy deeds in his short life. The power of poetry, or battle of poetry, you know? 8 Mile situation going here. Viking style, I guess. Anyway, do you know where Ulfar's pack is now? Feasting with the Allfather in the halls of heroes, I reckon, with Mjod filling their horns to the brim. Some type of mead, I suppose. As valor and loyalty did fill their hearts. Lies. Did you see their bodies? Which of their brothers will avow the truth of these words? Ironhide never lies. The young wolf's arm cuts through the air like an axe, and he angrily points at Ulfar. And you, Everlost, watch your tongue, unless you want my dagger to deliver a penance of eternal silence upon you. No, we did not see their bodies, but we heard their ranting and raving, which can only lead to the jaws of Morkay. We would like to know the details. In the battle in which you, Everlost, Arnulf, and Skiadi were captured by the Xenos, the baleful howl took prisoners of their own. Under torture, the captive Xenos gave up their sour coordinates of where they were to go next. Some important meeting, it seems. The place was far away, deep in the uncharted regions where the servants of the Allfather have never ventured, and your brothers decided to go there. No navigator would dare lead them to those dark places, so your brother seized a trading boat and voyaged there without a helmsman. So you abandoned them to their grueling march. Ulfar's voice drops to a menacing rasp. Lower your hackles. I urge them not to throw away their lives in vain. Nothing but death could await them among those malevolent stars. We all came here to serve the Allfather and repay our blood debt, not to die for naught. Or have you forgotten that, Everlost? Ulfar, what will you do now with this knowledge? I will not test our friendship, Aid Vatir. I know that if I call upon you to go with me in search of my pack, I will be taking you away from important battles and the saving of your home. So I'll go alone to seek my brothers, but I will not abandon you in your hour of need. I owe you. When we have defeated your enemies, I will leave you and follow the trail. That trail is bloody and has long since gone cold, Brother Ulfar. There is no need to add another body to its tally. As the leader of the Stormbiters, I call you to our pack. Be a brother to us now. Ulfar gives the peaceably smiling Thorvald a penetrating look, his face darkening and his voice dropping low to a bestial snarl. Have you lost your mind, Thorvald? Perhaps it is you who's lost his mind, if you are daring to speak so insolently to Ironhide. What makes you so certain they are dead? When Baleful Howl was sitting off, we exchanged gifts, our pack, runes. Every 10th watch, a priest cast the runes and saw what fate they revealed. 50 watches after the baleful howl left, the runes showed calamity. 60 watches after they left, death since then. The runes have been voiceless and their patterns hold no meaning. And that's it, the spirits deceive you. Your priest went a little soft in the head and forgot how to read his runes. And for that, you give my pack up for dead. Cowards! The runes do not lie, Ulfar. You know this. I'm sorry about your brothers, but their fates is clear. Why do you want Ulfar to join your pack? He is our brother. He should not be left to wander the galaxy in the company of ordinary mortals or alone. Wolves are like sharp knives. We hone ourselves against each other. And without brothers, Ulfar will rust and grow dull. Be with us, Ulfar. We will take you in. Go to hell, Thorvald. They'll take you in there. Last time I sided with Ulfar in this conversation, I might, his ending slide was kind of sad. I might, tell him to, join this time. Ulfar, perhaps you should listen to him. And even if you remain deaf to my words, I still will not tell you where your brothers went. Respect your alpha, Ulfar. You are too quick to call yourself my leader, Thorvald. Go and bark commands at your pups. Who are you calling a pup, Everlost? Unlike your pathetic pack, we will soon go into battle and accomplish great deeds. But you, coward that you are, want to shirk your duty. Ulfar and Halbrand roars merge into a single word. Duel. Stop, soldiers. Quiet, both of you. Have you forgotten where you are? Holmgang can only take place on solid ground, not on a boat. The void and the warp are treacherous and unfit to host a duel of the worthy. I think, I don't know how to pronounce this. Holmgang, or something like that. I've heard it before in the show called Norseman. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it, but it's a good show. Kinda like a mix of the historical show Vikings and The Office, in a way. Weird mix, but I enjoyed it very much. Anyway, let's continue. And secondly, I am your superior, Ulfar, and so I am not asking but ordering you to back up your chest beating with deeds. If this baleful Howl pack is alive, as you say, let it march with the Stormbiters in the assault on Euphrates too. Let it display the valor all the stories tell of. Will they stand alone for all your brothers, or have you gone soft? The wolf leader's tone may be threatening, but you notice a sly glint in his eyes. Ulfar, on the other hand, is growling furiously, with no matching twinkle in his gaze. We'll see about that. I will prove that the Stormbiters will never be a match for the baleful Howl. Eight Vatir, I must be at your side when you depart for the assault. Promise that you will grant me this honor. I promise, Ulfar, we will march into battle together. If you prove that your words carry more weight than a battle axe, I will tell you where your brothers went. If you fail, you will submit. Thorvald's lips curve into a superior smirk. Alright. One more giant wall of text to go through, and then we shall commence the battle. Alright. A general once said that all wars are fundamentally the same. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. Grokshit. That general had not witnessed the events on Euphrates II. Rogue trader Magnus von Valentius was the supreme commander in that battle, a man of iron will, unfaltering, unshakable. I served in his personnel enforcer guard back then, just another cocky kid who thought he was an expert soldier. The Emperor was gracious to me. He gave me a chance to realize just how wrong I was. Most of my comrades didn't get a chance like that. The shuttles would have blocked out the sun if one could see it. Through the smoke of the Manufactorum city of Sigma S13, at its heart stood the Machine Cathedral. Our primary objective. The Lord Captain orders were to commence a lightning-fast assault. We were flying straight into a hail of artillery fire. For many of us, that was the end. The rest were being thrown around in the midair, praying that the next shell would miss their shuttle, but the losses were justified. With that surprise attack, we seized the initiative at the start of the battle. Upon descending from orbit, Sister Argenta inspired the troops with the very first notes of her prayers. Her singing was the Emperor's voice commanding us to fight without any regards for our own lives. After rousing the soldiers to launch a daring raid, she quickly captured one of the heretics' commanders. That was when we heard a starkly different voice from the Sister of Battle, trembling with fury. She personally interrogated the miscreant, pulling one poisoned confession after another out of him. Once she was done, the world was purged of his impure breath, and she was the one wielding the flamer. The sight of that heretic writhing in flames was imprinted upon our memories, shining a light on the cruel darkness of our immediate future like a brilliant beacon. In the command center, the Lord Captain ordered his generals to commence a rapid tank assault in accordance with the military doctrine, armored wave devised by Lord Militant Justus Quim. Proceed with caution. Advance while utilizing the surviving planetary populace as human shields. Our best bet is to proceed with caution, I think. Or let's see, deliver a tactical report to the officers. The best breakthrough point in Manufactorum Sigma S13 was receiving Dock MU 514, one of the oldest parts of the city, whose fortifications and defense systems were starting to show their age. Every approach to it was covered in traps, atomic mines, mechanical mayhem collars, skin-rending arch viruses. But we were ready to advance, taking sector after sector, even if it is meant throwing our bodies at whatever the enemy had in store for us. In the command center, the Lord Captain ordered his generals to. We still have to go through the same, so let's hope to God this passes. Nice. We were commanded to prepare our auspexes to commence the assault. We consigned our lives to small green vid screens and their machine spirits. Whenever we avoided another one of the enemy's traps and ambushes, we would then voxcast their coordinates to the artillery gunners, while our comrades rained thunder and lightning upon the heads of those skulking whoresons. We gave the Emperor's peace to the rest, making slow but steady progress toward the city's walls. Pushing through the ruins of sacred workshops, we looked with awe upon the machines that up until that point had remained forbidden to the eyes of the laity. Those were palaces of incredible and frightening technology, void ship assembly halls, alchemical atriums, sacred arsenals, generators producing invisible fields unsettling to the mind, and scriptoriums containing knowledge of horrors best left undiscovered. In one of the chemical chapels, we came upon a shipment of cisterns containing hallucinogenic gas. The tech priests protested that the substance was not designed for warfare, that it was created for higher rituals. But the officers wasted no time pumping our artillery shells full of that gas. At last, we reached the gates of Dock Mu 514, the threshold of the metal nightmare that was Manufactorum Sigma S13. However, the initial attempts to storm the dock shattered against the enemy's defenses. Magus Dominus Opticon 22 proposed a tech sabotage. He could send his small sectary units behind the enemy lines and have them subdue the spirits of the area's defense systems. Thorvald, the fierce leader of the Space Wolves, proposed to send infiltrators beyond the walls to kill enemy officers and weaken the dock's defenses. The Lord Captain ordered to Dispatch infiltrators and deal with the enemy commanders. Proceed with tech sabotage. Barrage the enemy with gas mutations. Have the Vanguard Regiment detail the reasons why the first assault failed. The influence of the ruinous powers had corrupted and twisted Doc Mu 514 beyond recognition. Many potential approaches were blocked by walls of flesh fused with metal and anomalies that bent reality around them. Hundreds of possessed machines assembled in Eophraites too rose against us. The enemy was expecting us to strike, and we needed to disrupt their defenses before attacking. The Lord Captain ordered to dispatch the infiltrators and deal with the enemy commanders. Space wolves entered the city undetected and reaped a bloody harvest there. None could hide from their fierce, cunning warriors. The infiltrators killed one officer after another, sowing panic and disarray among the enemy. The bodies were impaled on spikes so that the heretics could not see their commanders from afar. Once the mayhem had reached its peak, the space wolves demolished the turrets, opened the gates, and gave the signal to attack. The dock was ours. It took many days to break through the metal heart of the manufactorum. On the third week of the assault, the vanguard was halted and swept away by a salvo of plasma macro cannons, scorning every canon of sacred engineering. The heretics had placed the hull of an unfinished void cruiser on the treads of several kilometers long. This leviathan of adamantine and plasteel barred our way. Logus Opticon 22 insisted that we retake the sacred machine, for the vessel had been in the making for many decades, and its destruction would have meant a great tragedy for the Imperium. The Lord Captain, we have a dogmatic option, ordered an assault column to be formed from the repentant manufactorum workers, granting those captives the right to atone for their crime with their blood. We need dogma points, so I think we'll go with this. 20. The Lord Captain was merciful. Each captive was issued a single-shot las, fusil, and bayonet, whereupon an order was given to take the cruiser at any cost. The deal with them was that those who survived the attack would be granted the Emperor's pardon and could enlist in the Liberation Army. Traitors in the wartime can seldom hope to be given second chance, let alone offer of such generosity. No more than 100 of them were left alive that day. The Emperor was harsh on those who had misstepped, but many seasoned soldiers could have learned from their fervor. Covered in oil, blood, and soot, their eyes full of desperate zeal, the penal unit's fighters somehow managed, despite their losses, to break through the mighty cruiser. They climbed shafts, used their bayonets, and applied what scant knowledge they had of sacred technology. Eventually, they destroyed the heretics who were operating the macro cannons. Enforcer strike groups were then able to land the cruiser and clean up the remaining cultists. The cruiser was conquered. Slipping on pools of blood mixed with sacred uniquence, we made it to the Machine Cathedral, a gargantuan hall breathing with the flames of 1,000 furnaces. The last bastion of the enemy army. That was where I first faced the word bearers, betrayers of humanity and unworthy sons of the Emperor. What could we mere humans possibly do to match their unholy bestial rage? Ride with me. That reminds me of the Lord of the Rings quote. Anyway, because the Lord Captain ordered the entirety of our main forces to begin the operation with a swift assault, the enemy troops were still in disarray, and not all word bearers squads had the time to regroup at the Machine Cathedral. They were scattered around the battlefield and could not retaliate with a unified strike. This gave us a chance to surround and crush their squads one by one. The Lord Captain devised a plan that placed the Space Wolves at the forefront of our strikes, commanded to close ranks and direct all available forces I think we have a better chance pulling this off. We do. Okay. Nice. The Emperor's angels themselves led the charge that day. Magnificent in their rage, they forged a path for us to follow, and even the appalling champions of the arch-enemy could not stop them. While we distracted the enemy with suppressive fire and hail of grenades, our unyielding leaders charged the word-bearers and tore them to pieces. We were the anvil of his wrath, and they were the hammer. And that's when it came. Doomscream, an ancient and bloodthirsty hell-brute, a merciless executioner forged from adamantine and ceramite. That single foe was repelling our assaults one after the other, turning hundreds of soldiers into bloody pulp. For as long as that abomination lived, we had no hope of reaching the heart of the enemy's citadel. The dire-eyed Thorvald volunteered to track down and destroy the vile spawn, but fate had other things in store for him and his brothers. The Space Wolves' Pax was to be the first to storm the Machine Cathedral, and thus Magus Dominus Opticon 22 assembled a cohort of elite Skitari and said that he would locate and eliminate Doomscream. The soldiers were whispering that he was willing to activate the so-called Guaranteed Annihilation Protocol, a terrible and ominous rite that is as lethal to the enemies of the odd Messiah as it is to his faithful servants. Upon arriving at the front lines, the Lord Captain minus 50. If that wasn't there, we would have pulled it off. Let's see what happens if we question the survivors. Those lucky enough to have escaped with their lives had little to tell us. They remembered the terrible howling hanging in the air and a death machine impossibly quick for its size, dismembering people in crumpling tanks with its horrific manipulators. This enemy was ancient, devious, and utterly mad. The heretic's mind was clouded by rage and hatred, and his body was bound within a prison of metal and mutated flesh. Upon arriving at the front lines, the Lord Captain gave his blessings to Opticon 22. Opticon 22 and his cohort, their armor painted with black chrome, marched into the darkness of the manufactorum in silence. Hours later, we heard chilling sounds of combat, and then a flash erupted from the depths of the sacred workshops. The Emperor's angels charged forth and found Doomscream there, crippled but still alive, and routed out the fiend, his bloodied pincer ripped off by the devastating explosion, was presented to the Lord Captain as a trophy. The body of Opticon 22 was never found. It was disintegrated by the atomic charge. Man, he carried into battle. Such was the high price for the grave and humiliating wound that he and his tech comrades inflicted upon the unholy champion of the heretics. We chanted the name of the brave warrior of the code in our prayers. Hail Opticon 22. We thank you for your sacrifice. At last we reached the Machine Cathedral. We saw a yawning lift shaft left behind by a colossal land-gnawing drill that had burrowed for kilometers into the depths of the planet. There, deep below, lied the last hiding place of the heretics. Leaders, hundreds of grenades, accompanied by promises of swift judgment, were hurled into the pit. Such was our righteous anger. The planetary assault was the resounding success. The enemy forces were shattered and broken. A small fraction remained in the machine's cathedral, but the rest either had been destroyed or were destined to meet the same inevitable fate soon. The Lord Captain's retinue and the Space Wolves band delved into the shaft, headed toward the heart of the machine cathedral. We watched them leave with reverence in our eyes as we were setting up the perimeter around the entrance. Perimeter around the entrance. We knew that the true outcome of the battle of Euphrates too depended on them, and that our fates were theirs to decide. And with that epic battle, we can start. Epic battle of text, I guess, but I imagine it would be very hard to design it, so they just settled for a large wall of text. It would have been very epic to have cutscenes describing all of this, and voice-acted lines and whatnot. But sometimes Owl Games, you have to rely on your imagination and your patience to just go through the text, you know. If I was a trained voice actor, I would gladly try my best to put on a show, but I am not, so you have to settle with my monotone voice. May the energies of the immaterium, okay, may the gears resume turning, may the batteries be infested. The giant clad in dark crimson armor is in the middle of a sinister litany, his words turning into a repulsive ethereal stench and flakes of otherworldly ice. He does not notice your presence. The same cannot be said about Conrad Voigtfear, who stands at his side. His completely mutated turquoise eyes flash upon seeing you. He flinches, but remains silent, hesitant to interrupt the ritual. We can't pass this, but we can try. Nice. You can feel the strings of the surreal force emanating from the sorcerer's fingers and wrapping around the enormous disc of the drill. He is feeding its sacred batteries with his profane magic, as if it were the motive force, subjugating the tech priest's creation to his will. The sorcerer does not turn his head as his voice rolls over the room. I see you, mortal thing. I sense your meek mind. So you are the one who was so eager to meet me and your own demise. Rejoice, brother Twilight. Today, you become the new rogue traitor. Voigtfear's deformed features twist into a bloodthirsty smile. Yes, master. I'll rectify my mistake and reclaim what was stolen. Do you have a name, or shall I simply refer to you as the heretic? You know my name well. I am Urlon the Cruel, breaker of misbelievers, truth speaker, triumphator of faith, dark apostle of the blessed word-bearers legion. Kneel and offer a prayer of gratitude, for your death could not bear a worthier name. We have a dogmatic fanatic thing. Speak the litany of purification to smother the profanity of the sorcerer's words. Fuck yeah. What does that do? Oh. Holy shit. The sacred words sustained by your indomitable faith illuminate the air and send a mighty echo across the room, so great in their strength that the sorcerer's words drown within, and the currents of the heretical power swirling around the drill began to ebb. Once the final words of the prayer escape your lips, righteous light envelops the drill, washing away the unhallowed taint. The sorcerer, scorched by the radiance of the Emperor himself, growls in pain and rage. Fuck yeah. The wolf lets out a chilling howl, and his pack ready their weapons, acknowledging it is an unequivocal order to kill. Let those who blaspheme against the true gods beg forgiveness in vain. Let their lips be sealed, let their hands be severed, let their souls be reaped and scorched. something about Space Marines when they just fucking shoot. I don't know why. It pumps you with the testosterone, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, a glorious fight awaits. Take heed with the silver-tongued traitor, for he is old, sly, and strong. But by the All-Father, the wolves will spill rivers of his blood today. What manner of witchcraft was he attempting back there? He wished to wake the tunneling behemoth. If you hunger for my thoughts, Uralon is searching for something down below, in the Manufactorum's deepest halls. My warriors destroyed the energy fount and silenced the drill, but the detestable Malefic still found a way to revive it with his heinous magics. Another blasphemy. There are too many to count now. Okay, I will deal with them. You're a brave one. You are not easily deterred. Good. Then find a way to reach the tunneling platform while we give the mangy sorcerer something to worry about. Hellbrunt, you stick to the original plan. Take 2 brothers and go after Doomscream. Our scouts report that he took refuge here in these depths after being defeated in battle on the approach to the Machine Cathedral. I want to take the unholy tin can that holds his traitorous brain back to Fenris. Good hunting. We won't fail you. Proudly tread the hunter's grim, in chase of a beast of steel and blood. Fangs bared, sharp, in thirst of prey, let glory cloak their mighty gait. Doomscream. He hides in this den. Step aside, Hellbrand. I will be the one to slay it. I claim this quarry for the baleful howl. Alright, Ulfar, we set out to hunt the beast. You seek to best me in hunting, Ulfar Everlost. None are faster or deadlier than the Stormbiters. We will see, young wolf. We will see. Luck be with you, warriors. Haydor Rus Magnus. Okay, and with that we could finally begin. And for some reason we have baleful scars. What is that? The Lord Captain and his retinue suffered heavy injuries over the course of the planetary assault. And in the fight with the Hellbert Doomscream, yet the battle rages on, and these warriors have no time for healing or rest. So, doesn't seem to be a negative effect, it's just some lore thing, I assume. Gonna manually save. Take care of the leveling. Okay, all we get is an extra action point. I'm not gonna complain, that is good stuff. All of them should have the same thing, so let's quickly do this. Okay, what about the next thing? Okay.